Hey, powerful ones, and welcome to The Power Plan with Tashara T.J. Robinson. I'm your host, Tashara T.J. Robinson, and I am here to educate, encourage, and edify you on your life's journey. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. Feel free to subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. That way you can be notified every time I drop a new video. So a quick background about who I am. I was married for 19 years and at home with our 4 beautiful children for 17 years. About 4 years ago, I have gone through a divorce. So I have gone from a married stay-at-home mother of 4 to now a single divorced mother, working mother. Whew, lots of transitions, lots of wisdom, lots of adapting to a new normal. And even through that process, I still gained a lot of wisdom. So much wisdom that I started journaling. Then I started writing these, positive, encouraging sayings on all of my social media platforms. And then I thought, hey, I want to write a book. And so I did. I've written 2 books. First book is Power Moms, Persevere, Overcome, Win, Empower, and Restore. 12 stories of moms who found their power to win. I'll be sure to put the link in the description below. And my first solo project was published in September of 2018 entitled From Pitiful to Powerful, and that is on Amazon. And I'll also include the link below. So all of that wisdom, I was able to capture it and put it in a literary form, not only for my own catharsis, but also for the edification of other people. I realize that I'm not alone when it comes to transitions like divorce. So, hey, while I learn, why not share that wisdom with other people? So, this video, I'd like to discuss just adapting to divorce. And again, if you've been married longer than 6 weeks, you understand that any transition going from single to married is a transition, and you got to adapt to that. So you know that going from divorce to single, there's going to be some adaptation there. So I wanted to just share some of the things that that I had to adapt to, and then how I actually adapted to it. So the first thing I recall having to adapt to is I was no longer part of a team per se. Now that I'm single, when I was living alone right after the divorce, all of the decisions, they fell on me. So I was like the head of the household, So that was different, given we obviously had some problems in our marriage, which is why we divorced. But that again was just a new normal for me. There was no one to kind of run something by. Hey, thinking about doing A, B, or C. What do you think? It was just me. And on some things that was kind of nice, but again, just adapting to that new normal. Hey, all of the decisions are, on you. Now, how I processed that was I didn't feel like all of them had to be on me. If I had a question or wanted some advice, I still had friends, I still had my parents that I was able to run some things by. But again, at the end of the day, it was me. So that took some getting used to. It was as if I had to get my sea legs pretty quickly, as far as, hey, okay, we don't have time to necessarily consult the whole world about this decision. Here you go. So that's the first new normal that I realized. All of the decisions were on me. Okay. The second thing I noticed, closely related to the first one, all the chores were also on me. Okay. Figuring out yard maintenance, if anything was to go wrong in the house. Now, I was renting a house right after I got divorced, so that was part of that saved me a little bit of stress. If anything happened, went wrong with the house, I could call the landlord, so that was cool. But at the end of the day, when that battery starts to chirp in that smoke detector and I couldn't reach it and I have to sleep with that chirping all night, yeah, I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to get up there? Am I going to call someone to do that? So all of the chores, the grocery shopping, the bill paying, cutting the yard, if something were to go wrong, that all fell on me. Okay, again, part of that new normal. So how I combated some of that stress or whatever was, one, I learned to do some of that stuff, okay? I figured out how to get up there and change that battery on that chirping smoke detector. Again, I rented a house, so if anything were to go wrong with any of the major things, call the landlord. So that renting for that short period of time did offer me some protection. And then again, I'm so grateful that I had a lot of support from my parents. If I felt like I needed something, hey, can you come over? That was cool too. The third thing I realized about being divorced or going from married to now divorced and single was during the daytime, you know, I was working, taking care of children, cooking. During the night, I found that to probably be the most difficult time because it was just quiet. It was quiet and I was alone there with my thoughts. That again was probably the most difficult time during the day after I first was divorced. And I've spoken or listened to some divorced people, and they have echoed that same sentiment, that it's that nighttime when it's super quiet, there's nothing going on, it's just you alone with your thoughts. That's when I first realized the power that I had to control what I allowed my mind to think on. You know, in the beginning of the divorce, I felt like I was high on adrenaline because, again, I'm making sure, you know, chores and bills and things like that were taken care of. So paying attention to my thoughts, I have to be honest, took a back burner. And as I have matriculated these years now as a divorced person, I realize that is paramount. Making sure that I drive my thoughts. Like you drive a car, you keep your hand on the steering wheel so you won't veer to the left or to the right. I'm learning I have to keep my hands on my thoughts. If I find it veering a little bit over to the left, I gotta bring them back. So I can't say I was as diligent in the beginning after the divorce. So that nighttime was probably the hardest as far as, you know, the quiet and being alone with those thoughts. But again, how I combated that was if I needed to talk to somebody during the night, I'd call. I would call. Of course, television was a good companion for a while. So those were some things that I noted that, okay, this is different from being married, you know, being the head of the household, all the chores falling on me, and then just that nighttime, again, being alone. So what I have found is that even 4 years after the divorce, there are still some things that I am noticing, like, oh, okay, that's all going to fall on me when it comes to a decision to be made. But therein lies where I have seen the power of a support team. Okay, now I will discuss this in another video, but even the support of my family. Okay, I found that my family has been my biggest support during this transition. So that has helped me to not feel like I'm all alone, because that particular thought, if perpetrated, I'm all alone, there's nobody to help me, I don't believe would help me to fare well in my future, okay? Because I feel like I have no one, but that's not true. So I'm grateful that I'm surrounded by lots of support, friends and family. So if you have gone through a divorce, why don't you share with me in the comments below, what were some of the things that you had to adapt to, and then how did you overcome that? What was your solution as you came across some of those new, I call it the new normal. How did you get through that? So I'm hoping this video for you is helpful to let you know that I get it. Going from married, two people kind of figuring out stuff, and now that you're single, doing things on your own, hey, been there, still doing it. And at the end of the day, I'm grateful because what this is teaching me is, hey, I can do it. Not saying I've done everything perfectly, but what this transition has taught me is that I have these muscles within me, within my will, within my spirit, that if exercise, and if needed, I can definitely rise to whatever occasion that life calls forth from me. So I'm grateful that my decision-making skills have strengthened, and just that whole attitude that, hey, I can figure this out. So I appreciate you joining me tonight for Adapting to Divorce on the Power Plan. And don't forget, you are as powerful as you choose to be.